Frog God, Frog God.
Hi, Frog God fans. Welcome to the channel tonight. We are going to be talking to Jon Hook about Blight of the uh, Moonglow Glade. I'm Alice Peng, and above me is John. Hey, John. Thanks for
Hey,
joining
how's
us.
it going?
Great. I'm really looking forward to talking to you a little bit about this, but let's keep it light on the spoilers. We want people to.
Sure, absolutely.
Yep. So, and below me is Brandon Powers. Hey, Brandon.
Howdy, howdy. Happy to be here, John. I am looking forward to hearing what we've got going on here.
Yes, I think this is going to be exciting. So, first off, I've been dying to know all day. I heard a rumor about a meteor shower that apparently brought really, really bad omens and juju. Tell me all about that, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So, Blight of the Moonglow Glade. I wanted to have something kind of from space, something otherworldly to kind of introduce, because then that way anything can be weird, and I can change certain things. Um, Plus, having something from space is my it's a very, very light Lovecraftian touch. It's my homage to my Call of Cthulhu Lovecraftian heritage. That's where I do most of my writing and work. And so having a thing from space kind of come and do its weirdness and meld with fantasy setting, I thought would be a lot of fun. So that was the genesis idea, and then from there the rest of the module grew.
That's awesome. I got a sneak peek of the module today, and I gotta say, I think that there's a lot to work with here. I like the way that you set it up because I think it could go very well for the region that's currently set up for, which is the Duchy of Rheims. Uh, and I believe I have that right. I hope so.
Honestly, I'm not
Yes, Duchy of
100%
Rheims,
sure.
Grand Duchy of Rheims. I am correct on that. But I also think that a person can easily adapt it to be a fairy realm mod, that you are dealing with a fairy tread and you suddenly end up in there and have to deal with the dryads and fixing things, and GM can insert things. And I definitely get that Lovecraftian feel that you're talking about by all
Thank you.
means.
Thank you. The Duchy of Rheims, right? Okay.
Grand
So
Duchy of Rheims, yes.
I'm so new to Frog God Games and Sword and Wizardry and the realm that they're building, that I had no idea. So when I wrote the module, I created this region, mountains and a forest and a town and roads and all the a lake, and I created all this, and they were like, we're going to find where this is going to nestle in, and we might tweak a little bit of that, but it's going to be pretty close to this. And I was like, awesome. Whatever you need to do, I hope you enjoy it. So I had heard something about Duchy of Rheims, so I'm like, sounds good. Sure.
Awesome. Well, you were just mentioning that you are really new to Frog God, so would you mind telling us a little bit about your background and how you got hooked up with Frog God?
Sure. So as I said, most of the work that I've done is in the Call of Cthulhu role playing game, and I'm also a podcaster. I have a podcast called Miskatonic University Podcast, where we talk about the Call of Cthulhu role playing game and other Lovecrafty and other horror role playing games.
I'll be sure to
Um,
leave a link below in the description for people.
Absolutely. Please come check it out. And so with that podcast, we have editors that work with us. And one of my editors is a gentleman by the name of Edwin Nagy. And Edwin works with Frog God Games. Well, last August, so August of 19, a bunch of us, we were in Providence, Rhode Island for Necronomicon, which is it's a Lovecraftian focused convention. So, but it has multiple tracks, so role playing game tracks, literary track, all this kind of stuff, other media. So all of us role playing guys were out there, and the podcast was out there. And to include, I was getting to meet Edwin Nagy for the first time. And so one evening, while we were having dinner and drinks, since Edwin does Frog God Games work, he asked me, he goes, "Hey, would you ever consider doing a fantasy adventure for Frog God Games?" And I was like, sure, why not? Right. And he was telling me about how there's a number of modules for Frog God Games that kind of play with traditional American centric, I'm assuming, holidays. So I guess there's a Thanksgiving one and a Christmas, and they were doing all this stuff. And so he goes, "Is there a holiday that you would like to do?" And I thought about it, and I was like, I tend to kind of skew ridiculous, and so I was like, well, if I'm going to pick a holiday, I'm going to pick one that I kind of think is kind of a knucklehead holiday. So I choose Arbor Day. I'm going to do an Arbor Day module. And actually, after the fact, I was like, I don't know why I just kind of backed into it, but that was I like that idea because it deals with nature and everything. And so I really started running with that. And I don't think it's too much of a spoiler that a druid is fairly critical to the party makeup. And so if there isn't a druid in your campaign, I do have an NPC that's readily available to join your team and help you with the issue with the blight at the Moonglow Glade.
Well, the graphic on the front definitely shows the whole acorn and nature bit. So,
Yeah.
hmm and while Brandon starts asking questions, I'm just going to start showing people the prototype of the module. This is going to be prone to a possibility of a little bit of change, but this is the prototype, and you guys can see some of the art in it.
So you definitely write, just looking at your drive-through, credits, you definitely write towards a lot of that Call of Cthulhu. Is that what most of your play is? Do you do a whole lot of Dungeons and Dragons or, one of the games that has spawned out of the specific Dungeons and Dragons line?
Really in the last 2 years, I've really been trying to expand my uh, table of games that I'm enjoying to play. I've wanted to learn some new game systems and experience some new settings. So when I was a kid, I mean, I'm a I guess an old school grognard. I got my Holmes Basic Blue Box of D&D for Christmas of '78. So I had, I was indoctrinated very early on, and so within the last couple of years, I've really started to try and expand into new, at least for me, new game systems. So the Merc Borg was kickstarted last year. I went all in on that. I've also been contributing some writing to Merc Borg. So there'll be some stuff coming out from them that'll contain, right now, just monsters that I've been doing. But I'm also really enjoying Free League's Alien role playing game with it's built on the Year Zero engine. Man, that is such a good, elegant, just smooth system. Just anybody can get into that Year Zero engine like really easy, and that's been very enjoyable. And I also am really trying to get into Pelgrane Press has a game. Typically, they've got their standard gumshoe system, which I don't know. There's something wrong with me. The normal gumshoe doesn't quite click for me. I'm not sure what it is that I don't quite get. But they've changed it slightly for a different game called the Yellow King RPG, which is based on the literary works of Robert Chambers, and with the Yellow King, they've kind of streamlined Gumshoe into this thing that they call the Quick Shock system, and so an entire combat is just a single roll, die roll from each player at the table, and that's it. Every player gets one roll, and that's combat. And I don't know. That seemed to make it click for me. So I'm really enjoying Yellow King. But yeah, my long suit is Call of Cthulhu. I love the seventh edition of Call of Cthulhu. It's been out now, I think, 3 or 4 years. It's been going. probably I don't know, maybe longer than that. I don't know, but I am greatly enjoying the 7th edition. I thought it really streamlined uh, without negating the history of the basic role play game engine that Call of Cthulhu was built upon. Uh, so I like
That's
11
awesome.
games.
We would love to have you come on to Babies with Knives, just so you know, and do some Call of Cthulhu, or just sit down for fun.
Yeah.
It's a game system that Alice and I only have a very small exposure to. Everybody was always talking about their awesome Call of Cthulhu and how great it was this time, but we never had a lot of people who were like, let's play Call of Cthulhu.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to run a game that I actually wrote for the Necronomicon convention last August. It was the official module that Chaosium, the publisher of Call of Cthulhu, that they published and made available. It was only available in print at that convention, but it is available as a PDF now from their website, called Shadow Over Providence. It
I
was
remember that.
yeah, it
I
was
remember
in
that crossing my computer at some point, you know.
that was in honor for Providence, Rhode Island, where H.P. Lovecraft, Howard Phillips Lovecraft, where he was born and raised, and where that convention is held every year. I would love to run that convention because it's a good convention game. You can run it easily in 4 hours. I've done it multiple times, so I'd love to do it with you guys and a crew of players.
That's awesome. Getting back to Blight of the Moonglow Glade, um, I did notice that while I was reading through it a bit, there are a lot of charts, and I think that that was very interesting that you had. There were a lot of charts that people can use to really set up their setting. You seem to really try to bring in the ability to open this up for people. Can you tell?
I thank you. Yeah, I really tried. So with Blight of the Moonglow Glade, I had a couple of different um, uh, agendas that I wanted to try and present in this module. So I wanted to, and I in my preamble of the adventure, I address it a little bit where or at least I hope I succinctly addressed it, where if you wanted to take that adventure and you wanted to just play it at a convention setting, I make suggestions on only play this portion, right? Play the second half. If you buy this and you're going to integrate it into your home campaign, I tried to make the different locales generic enough that maybe it would fit in whatever universe somebody was building in their own home. And then my amazing editors at Frog God Games. They took it and said, "Hey, we have a universe that we're also building, and we know exactly where this will fit with this geography. We can put it right here." And I was like, "That is awesome!" So now it goes into a realm that other people can fit. And so in the first half of the scenario, I wanted to present this town that has a lot of stuff available for people to equip themselves. I introduce a couple of NPCs, some of which are available to join them to kind of bolster their ranks. And I have I thought a fairly extensive rumor table, and one of the things I like to do in a rumor table, or things that I've appreciated in modules that have rumor tables that I've read and I was hoping to emulate here, was I didn't want to say this is false, right? I hate the red herring, um, for just the sake of it being a red herring. And so in this extensive rumor table, there's about 4 or 5 rumors that are pertinent for the written adventure, and then they're annotated and they say, yeah, this is true, or it does say that's the only time I'll bring in a false is this is false for this module.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else that's in that rumor table, um, I just leave it open ended, and I give little. I like to sprinkle in notes directly to the game master, as asides, like, here's stuff that you can read and maybe, summarize for your players, but then here's a note that I want you to read and don't tell anybody. This is just for you, right? And so I talked about how, for this rumor table, if you're using this for your campaign, you decide, are any of these rumors true, and do you want to follow up on it? I'll give away one of the rumors that does not pertain to the adventure itself. Is and when I was playtesting this, one of my players rolled this rumor, which is, um, the cats. I call the town Greyhorn. The cats of Greyhorn hate Krieg, the blacksmith, because he hates cats. And so as the players are like, one of the players rolled that, and he was like, "I'm going to go kick this blacksmith's ass." So he was like, "Let's go down to see the blacksmith." And the blacksmith is like, he kicked a cat and chucked it out of his smithy and everything. And this guy, this player, like, totally wanted to derail the adventure to, like, no, we're going to rally an army of cats, and we're going to storm the smithy. And I'm like, really, come on, no, it's just, the Blight of the
Sounds
Moonglow Glade.
awesome.
Let's go to that. And that rumor also in itself it kind of harkens to my it's another Lovecraftian touch for a Lovecraft story, the Cats of Ulthar. So
Well, that sounds awesome. The way that you describe the town and such, it reminds me of, like, Village of Hamlet and a lot of the things that have come after that. That you have this whole setting right there that you could do anything with. You could take this town and use it for a lot of different things. Now, it's specifically tailored to run you into what's going on here, and rumor tables like that are great. So our campaign is running right now for Blight of the Moonglow Glade on Indiegogo. It's April 5th right now. It's got 9 days left at the moment. So we're going to be coming up, and we're already 488% funded. It's out there. I think Alice is showing us some of the Indiegogo stuff. There's this beautiful map that you've got the Elfkin home tree that you can find on there, and that just looks awesome. Makes me
thank you.
want to find out, what the deal with this is and get to know it. Is there any other quick little thought that you've got that you want to share with people about this?
Well, buy-in, I should point out, if you just want the PDF, is only going to be $6, and that's for 5th edition, Swords and Wizardry, and Pathfinder that this game comes out in, so you have a lot of flexibility. And over to you, John.
Yeah, I hope people enjoyed. I introduce a new elf race that I call Elfkin, and in my mind, they're like a more simian branch of the elven bloodline. So they're very lithe and everything, but they have longer arms and shorter legs and prehensile feet. And so they're ape, and they're not monkey, so they don't have tails or anything like that. But so I thought that might be a neat twist, and they're more diminutive, so they're almost like hobbit sized. So I was hoping that might be kind of fun, and that's why their home is this tree, and the map is vertically oriented, which I think the map makers were like, I'm having a hard time envisioning this because it's vertical, and so I sketched out the home tree, and I said, well, this is what I kind of think of when I'm doing this. And they're like, great, we're going to take that. And so they pretty much took my sketch, and, the cartographers, again, I love the artists and the cartographers that they have assigned to this. The cartographer took my, booger drawing of a tree map, and he cleaned it up and made it beautiful. And so I'm very pleased with how that came out.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. Frogs out there, definitely come and check out this Indiegogo right now. Look for Blight of the Moonglow Glade.
It's a tongue
Alice,
twister.
Yes, that you stumbled over it at the beginning, Alice.
Yeah, that's my fault.
It literally put a frog in my throat. I suddenly could, croak. I croak.
So Come and give the frog god some mighty lucre. We're trying to we're going to get this out, and it's a special Arbor Day. And how often do you say you get an Arbor Day adventure? Thank you so much for joining us, John.
Yes,
Thank you guys so much.
I had a lot of fun listening to you. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.